Hi, and welcome to my kitchen. You're used to seeing me behind the counter at the library, but not in my home. But we're happy to have you here with us this afternoon. I have Bryn, my good helper.
Hi.
And we're going to be showing you a few things. We're going to do this 4 times in November, and it will be on 2 o'clock on Tuesdays and available also for viewing at other times. I don't pretend to be a gourmet cook, but over the years I've learned lots of tricks, and we do enjoy having lots of people into our home. And these are just a few ideas of things you can do to make time special with, whether it's family or friends. I realize right now it's tough to have many people over, but just keep this in mind because we want to spoil our families too, right?
Yeah.
Right, and this first thing that we're going to do is a recipe that lots of people have gotten from me, and it's not original to me. This is from Taste of Home. And I think the first thing we need to do, Bryn, is spray the pan. If you want to do that, we just have 3 ingredients to make this dish. We have stovetop dressing, we have a can of apple pie filling, and we have some pork chops. And the original recipe says you can just put the pork chops in raw, but I like the flavor better when they've been browned a little bit. So first thing we're going to do, after Bryn's got that pan sprayed, we're going to open this applesauce. The idea is that we want, when you have people in your home, we want it to be a good time for you. And some people say they don't like to have people in because they get so nervous. They worry about things and, oh, how is this going to turn out? And I'm just stressed, and we don't want anybody to be stressed. We want people to just enjoy the company of one another. And so the first thing you're doing after you get your pan all sprayed so things don't stick, Bryn, you want to spread that out?
Sure.
We have a can of apple pie filling, and we're spreading that into the bottom of our baking pan. When that's all spread, then we are going to put the pork chops in on top of that. And this will easily do 6 pork chops, but it really depends on the size of the chops, if they fit in the pan or not. And I was surprised when I opened these up. I found out that they were bigger than I expected. So we'll just put in our pork chops into the pan. I should tell you that this is our first time. We have no idea of how long this is going to take or how the filming is going. I'm sure Sarah's an expert, so she's probably doing just fine. But this has not been practiced. We haven't done a timed run through, and I don't think I'm going to get that 6th one in because they are pretty good size. So we'll put them in, and the next thing we need to do is open our stovetop dressing. Do you ever have stovetop at your house? We don't eat a lot of processed food here, but there are times when it's awfully nice to have something quick. All right, do you want to dump that in?
Sure, I'm gonna put this
Okay.
wait in this bowl.
Yep, dump it in. We have this, we're following the instructions on the package for the stovetop, and this was 1.5 cups of hot water and 4 tablespoons of butter, 1/4 cup of butter. So we're going to let that sit just a little bit so that the croutons absorb the moisture. All right, now our stovetop is nice and the liquid and the butter have been absorbed. And what we're going to do is just put some on top of, some of the dressing on top of each of the pork chops. Do you want to do that, Brent?
Sure.
How long you're going to bake these is going to depend on the thickness of the pork chop. And I don't think you can ruin them except by undercooking them so that they're not tender. But I would say they need to go into the oven for an hour, these an hour and a half, because they're really thick. And I like to do them at 325 so they don't dry out. And when Bryn gets the dressing on top of all of them, we're going to cover them with foil, and then they'll go into the oven.
Should I add any more, or is that a good amount?
No, we'll use all of it up. So all of the dressing is on the pork chops. It's too bad we don't have smell-o-vision because it smells really good.
It does.
And this is something that I think most kids would eat, but it also, when it comes out of the oven, it really will impress your guests or your family because it looks kind of fancy and like you really worked hard, which of course we have not. So, if you want to come back in a minute, we'll show you what the finished product looks like. Our main dish is in the oven baking, and normally what I would do with this dessert is make it ahead of time. It freezes very well, and I believe strongly in doing things ahead of time and not waiting till the last minute because that just makes you stressed, right?
Yeah.
You get nervous if you have to hurry. Well, I have made, this is called a pumpkin roll, and again, this is another Taste of Home recipe that I've used for many years now. I think the copy said it was from 2009, but I have already pre-baked because we are trying not to spend too much time because this has to cool before you can fill it. But this is basically like a jelly roll. I don't know if you had jelly roll when you were kids, if your mom or your grandma made jelly rolls. My mom used to make jelly rolls all the time. And the trick with the jelly roll is to start with a damp cloth when you roll it up, and then it won't crack. And as I say that it won't crack, this one cracked. But you can hide it. No one needs to know that you had a problem. Brenda, you want to put the stuff in the bowl? We're going to make a filling, and we need, these things have been sitting at room temperature, so we need 1 block. If you want to put the butter in, that would be great. We have 2 tablespoons of butter, and by the way, the recipes are going to be available, so I'm not real sure how Sarah's going to handle that if we come up with a plan, but they will be available online or by print. We'll see what works out the best. As we said, this is a whole new thing, so we're just breaking ground here, right?
Do you want me to add this in?
Yeah, and then she has a cup of powdered sugar she's putting in. Good job. And then we need 1/4 teaspoon of vanilla. And we're just going to take all of these things and put them in the bowl.
I would like you to do this. I don't trust myself. I think I'm probably gonna spill.
Oh, well, it's not like I've never spilled. You know,
Yeah.
we don't get upset about spilling or whatever. Look at that. Okay, then we've got all of our ingredients in there, and then what we do is, well, the light down is what we do. I don't have an outlet in the middle of my kitchen, so we have to move. And we're just gonna mix the ingredients together. Am I giving Sarah fits here? She's trying to film and I'm moving around. All right, and you just beat it together until, see, it's got that nice texture and it's all incorporated. And I don't know about you, but I love cream cheese. So my feeling is you can never go wrong with cream cheese. Do you like cream cheese?
Yeah.
Yeah? So I have this all rolled up. We're gonna unroll it. And then, Sarah, if you want to stop the camera, we will.
All right.
We have our filling all ready to go, and we're just going to put it on top of this and go within about an inch all the way around the roll. And so, do you want to spread it, or would you rather I did it?
I'll spread it.
Okay.
So with an inch.
Yeah,
around
you don't,
it.
and it's not exact science. Just spread it around. There's something, I don't know why, but I never make this except in the fall or at Christmas time. And it's a thing with pumpkin, I think. It just seems like that's when you should have it. You could maybe stop it.
Now Gail is finishing up spreading out the filling.
Right, and Bryn did a fine job. I'm just finishing. We don't want to go all the way to the edge. So now that we have the filling, then we're just going to roll it up. Just roll it and roll it. And this is where the crack is that I was telling you about that nobody's going to know about because we're not going to let them see it. It normally does not do that, but of course it would today. And I like to, when I get it rolled like this, then I like to take a knife and trim off the ends so it just looks nicer. You don't have that raw. And this is where my husband usually shows up because he likes this, and he would come in and he would take care of those ends for me. So then, when we have that done, we'll put it on the platter. And then, Bryn, we're going to sprinkle it with powdered sugar. Would you like to use the sifter and put some powdered sugar on top?
Sure.
That just makes it look really nice, and yeah, we can even put a little more. I don't know why the sifter, it's not your fault, it's the sifter, it's not working, it's not cooperating. But it looks very nice if you put it on a table like this. But usually, we would serve it and serve it on a plate, and I will show you that in a little while. Miss Bryn and I have been working, and dinner is served. You will see, this is your pork chop with stuffing and apples. And we are having a little steamed broccoli with it. And this is what the pork chops look like when they came out of the oven. And Bryn is ready to eat them, right?
Yeah.
And for dessert, we have the pumpkin roll. And it all is done in a hurry. And I know for a fact that it's good. It tastes really good. And your guests or your family will be impressed that you worked hard and you really didn't. So we're going to be doing this through the month of November. And so we're looking forward to seeing you. If you have any questions, you can send them on Facebook or whatever, and we'll do our best to answer them. And thanks for watching our first cooking show.